Hey, what's up, guys? I didn't have the audio down. I was just waiting to start. I caught a snippet of this earlier, and well, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Naturally, um, I put the link there if you wanted to come on, but I might just be a short one.
Is that sounds okay to me.
I don't know that it's true. I'm trying to make sure I.
What does Will know? What is true? Right? That's what you want to ask him. What truth is? You get answers like that which comports with reality, which is viciously circular. Reality is what's in question when you're asking what is true. So you always want to question these truth claims, these identifications of that which is true from a secular or deist or nihilist or nonsense position, whatever you're dealing with that day. Also, you don't want to play the game of, letting people just make up a worldview unless you want to practice.
Understand what you've put forward as the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced we don't have free will or that we do have free will. I'm just observing and trying to make some sort of determination for myself.
Did you hear? I mean, think about what he just said. He doesn't know if there's free will and he does. Just listen again.
As the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced we don't have free will or that we do have free will. I'm just observing and trying to make some sort of determination for myself.
So he's not convinced he's making a determination for himself, but he's just observing and making a determination for himself anyway. Huh.
Okay.
But it's got to be consistent.
Oh.
It does?
It's got to be consistent based on what standard, right? He's bringing in an ethic to thrust his claim forward. It's got to be consistent. Now, it sounds good. We agree with that, but we want to know how he knows it must be consistent, why he relies on that and holds that framework in it's an ethical framework in some sense. As much as we assume that, what happens when we ask him to explain why we need to be consistent, for instance?
Yes. If you're going to say that we're acting out our parts and JG and them are acting out their parts, we can have feelings about it as a side effect of the script.
Well, if he's saying that we're all programmed or puppeteered, he can't do anything. He's not doing anything. That's where Will either softballing him or not realizing what he's attempting to do that can't be done. If everyone's playing a role, they have no say in it. They're just making noise. The response is part of the role. It's and on and on and on. It's a regress, right? Like you're not doing anything, and then let me point to what you're doing wrong, type of thing. You can't do it. You've dismissed yourself from arguing. This is why it's not fruitful to go over there and keep pointing this out and having them keep run around it and so forth and so on.
We're following, but we can't truly condemn anything that they're doing. We'd be condemning ourselves and God alike.
Well, you take that route, right? It doesn't make sense for you to say someone's doing it wrong. If you're saying God's doing it, that's correct. The step further is you can't even make arguments because you're not responsible for anything you're saying. But he's kind of softly pushing him there.
Well, when I use the word condemn, it's relatively speaking because Paul condemned Peter for acting a fool in Antioch, but Peter was not condemned to hell. So when I use the word condemned, it's relatively.
Does it make it right that Paul did it? Does it give us license just because Paul condemned someone?
Good question here.
Else? Does that mean that we should do it too? Paul wasn't a perfect man.
What?
Paul wasn't a perfect man. Paul wasn't Jesus. He
sounded like he almost naturally had a reflex to go, what are you talking about when he said Paul's not a perfect man? I'm not sure, but it almost sounded like that.
It's because Paul condemned someone else. Does that mean that we should do it too? Paul wasn't a perfect man.
What?
Paul wasn't a perfect man.
You just didn't hear him because he was talking. It's fine.
Paul wasn't Jesus. He did a
So-
lot of things he shouldn't have done. So just because he did it doesn't give us license unless I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to run away with
So that's a decent point. I mean, you as a believer, you could make this point. If you question Will, like how he knows this about Paul and so forth, it's going to get difficult for him. But let's just say from a Christian perspective, you're saying, yeah, you're following Paul, but who are you actually following? And this is where Will is lining him up. At least it seems that way to say that Paul is following Jesus, right? That's what Paul's doing. He's presupposing the walk of Christ.
that.
So what? Should we stay in bed 24 hours a day and not?
Is it Jesus?
Oh, now see, this is where he doesn't have an answer, right? Oh, now let me go. He goes to an extreme. Should we stay in bed all day and do nothing? Because he doesn't know how to answer. Classic display.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Paul wasn't a perfect man. Paul wasn't Jesus. He did a lot of things he shouldn't have done. So just because he did it doesn't give us license unless I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to run away with that.
Thinking, nonsense.
So what? Should we stay in bed 24 hours a day and not?
Is it Jesus? Is it Paul? Who are we trying?
Will brings him right back, lets him say his nonsense, and then goes right back to the question.
To be more like? Are we trying to be more like Jesus, or are we trying to be more like Paul?
I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be more like you. How about that?
Oh, and more nonsense. Just that's Ace Theo. He can't answer the question. Let me see if I can make up some fun nonsense to distract it. And, Will being his friend is most likely going to let him escape this, but there's a good line of questioning he's setting him up for. Although, again, as I'm watching them and understanding their worldviews, Will has no ground to stand on to ask these questions. He's being granted the navigation through the scriptures, which he denies, calls a myth, can never prove it's a myth, right? In fact, you can do what Jay Dyer did to Derek of Myth Vision and point out that his standard for mythology is going to be his actual position.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I do that.
I do. Yeah.
You'd have to let go of all the security blankets and stuff, the safety nets. You'd have to. I don't think you want to do that, Ace.
Yeah, and you have to let go of those security blankets too, because you got plenty of them.
Tell me about them.
Yours.
See, that's an interesting move by Ace. He's sort of moving into the idea of like the presuppositional argument, the fact that everyone has faith, even the alleged unbeliever, right? Because the unbeliever is saying, "Oh, you got to get rid of your faith, the book that you hold, the belief that you had," and then Ace says, "Well, you have to do it too." Which, I mean, could you be called for a tu quoque? That you have the same problem, but the point would be that the unbeliever thinks they do not have the faith the believer has, but what is their faith actually in? And that, that's where the conversation is. They have faith, unaccounted for faith in all sorts of things.
Your security blanket is the idea that you must throw the Bible out the window and let's have another discussion altogether, maybe about ducks. There we go.
So how would that give me
ducks? Well, Ace just ducked his line of questioning and reformed the conversation into what it is now. So interesting use of term there, ducks. He just ducked out of himself, didn't he?
Security.
You get a thrill out of busting people's chops who have some kind of faith.
Yes. If you want to call asking them.
The problem there is, Will has all sorts of faith, right? It's just a mystery. And what is the faith in? That's what you want to question him on. That's where you get the games and so forth. What is the actual worldview of this unbeliever deist, right? How can he put this together coherently? What is the web, the network of ideas that gives him internal consistency when he talks about some sort of deistic God? How does he make that work? Nobody knows.
Them to explain the reasoning for their faith, busting their chops. I'm guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that just part of the script?
So he's going back to, but Ace, aren't I doing exactly what I'm supposed to do? And that's the right move. But really, there's no discussion to be had because that's always on the table. That becomes kryptonite to the universalist, to the determinist. Anything that they complain about, which, this was based on either today or the earlier episode was based on why do I point to Christians and complain about them? And he tries to give him a reason, but, Will has just pointed out, he's doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And you can always fall back on that. That's his position. And he has nothing. His position is inconsistent. So it reveals its own sort of kryptonite that can be utilized always.
You love to blather on, don't you?
I like to turn people's words back against them when they're not consistent. That's all.
I don't believe in consistency.
That's basically all he had. He said, I don't believe in consistency. This guy. It's as funny as that sounds. That is a truth reveal. When he gets cornered, he suddenly doesn't rely on consistency because his position is being pointed out as inconsistency. There's a lot right in that snippet there.
You love to blather on, don't you?
I like to turn people's words back against them when they're not consistent. That's all.
I don't.
Yes, that is all. That is all. It's all your feelings. That is what he likes to do. Now, when you ask what his worldview is to establish why that is wrong, to be inconsistent, what consistency is, logic, laws of identity, laws of non-contradiction, where these things exist in reality, he's going to fall short in these categories, transcendental categories, namely. If he moves to a deistic God, well, what's he going to do with that, right? How does he have knowledge of this God? Where does the knowledge of being consistent come into his worldview? He's just assuming it.
Don't believe in consistency.
Yes, you do.
Well, I had to be consistent in some manner to make the statement. I don't believe in consistency. You start to kind of move there, like we're relying on consistency, assuming it in things like when the sophist says to Aristotle, what if I just deny the law of non-contradiction? Similar to what Ace is doing here. Aristotle says, you're assuming it in the acclamation in trying to deny it.
Well, doing the best I can with the tools I have.
You're a very consistent person.
Now, what is... that's painful. Really? Ace is admitting his own inconsistency in a certain manner, and then here comes Will encouraging him how consistent he is. Now, I know he's going to give his reasons, but I mean, day after day, this guy just keeps making stuff up, adding to, removing from the scriptures. I mean, if that's the type of consistency you're talking about, perhaps.
You're like clockwork.
Well,
or is he saying he's just predictable?
Is that a compliment?
Yes, you're very disciplined and ordered, and it's admirable. But to say you're
maybe he's just complimenting Ace a little bit here because he sparred with him a little bit. Obviously, caught him in a question he couldn't answer, so he's trying to relieve him here maybe a little bit. I mean, I don't like having to analyze this way. It's a weird relationship. You got a deist or an unbeliever here who thinks Ace is great. He has a cool fake good news philosophy that's better than the other ones he's come across, so he encourages him, although he thinks he's completely deluded. His whole worldview is based on a God that Will doesn't think exists. So it's a strange relationship. So there's a certain need for that. It's a certain way to critique this that makes it a little more, could be a little more interesting, could be a little more difficult, but that's what's happening here anyway. Will likes this man who has what he considers a false philosophy at a fundamental level, that the Christian God exists, and he just loves his good fake news. It's a strange relationship.
You're not consistent. That would negate everything that I've seen of you so far.
I don't think about consistency.
I don't think about consistency. When it arrives, it arrives. When I need it, I need it. When I'm found inconsistent, I don't think about it and talk about other things and make smear memos to those who point out my inconsistency.
I'm running down a trail that I don't even know how to define.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all of us. You just described life.
That's a good call from Ace Theo. Now, listen to what Will, that's just describes life, huh? Okay, so we're going to get a little bit of his worldview, which is key. The guy who's going and condemning Ace, condemning Christians. Let's hear about how he knows what is true, why consistency matters.
That I don't even know how to define.
Oh, that's all of us. You just described life.
Yeah.
So first of all, that's all of us, life, all people, right? Like a universal claim. You want to watch for universal claims with unbelievers, right? How do they know, have justification or accountability for a claim about all humanity, right? When you question them on this, they're going to have to naturally back off and say, oh, well, I don't really know that, it's sort of assumed. And they get annoyed by these things, obviously. But this is how, you point out and move to point out that their position is not really grounded in anything. They're just hoping that you'll grant them ideas and not question them on their assumptions and presuppositions so they can critique you and criticize you. This game goes on day after day. I'm trying to wait for some people to see this. Like, why are they just allowing unbelievers to grant themselves all these transcendental categories, meaning, value, and purpose, ethics, and apply them to the conversation as though they exist? They have no idea where and how those things exist, nor can they account for those things on their worldview.
Yeah, we're not so different. And when you talk about my security blankets, I don't know what those would be anymore. See, I recognize the crutch that I had in the religion, and it was terrifying to let.
See, he recognizes the crutch in the religion. Now, what we want to move to point out is why he doesn't recognize the crutch he has now, which I think Ace is touching here a little bit. Sort of the conversation is organically led here. Now, of course, Ace can't get into this type of discussion from what I gathered, but what is it now that he relies on faithfully? That's the hide the ball, the hide the worldview, right? Like the pushing the volleyball under the water. Where is it?
Let go of it and let go of my lifelong friend, or at least what I thought, and just consider that maybe I was painting that portrait in my mind of who the God was, rather than just letting.
Maybe he was doing that then, or maybe he's also doing that now, right? Because it seems like he has a different answer on any given day.
The God be the God.
Mm-hmm.
And consider that maybe I was painting that portrait in my mind of who the God was, rather than just letting the God be the God.
What is letting the God be the God? He's still going to be painting a portrait. I mean, what is he even talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any sense of certainty about anything. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. He has no sense of certainty about anything. What about that claim itself? Is always the question. What about the claim of not having certainty? You're not certain about that, pushing him into an infinite regress.
That I don't have any sense of certainty about anything. I don't know if that certainly can't be a security blanket to allow myself to be uncertain and to admit I don't know and can't.
Well, I would disagree with that. I think uncertainty is a great security blanket, and I'll tell you in which domain. Ethics. This is why relativists unknowingly or knowingly love relativism, because when it comes down to it, there is no actual objective or inherent moral system. The relativist considers that human beings just decide in a social contract or in a community what right and wrong are. So there's comfort in that, in the fact that, well, you get to shape how you treat other people. There's no standard. There's nothing binding you or commanding you or requiring you to treat your fellow neighbor with love, even your enemy. That doesn't exist. So there's comfort in the uncertainty of a ethical system. Just making an argument against the claim that, certainty or uncertainty isn't comforting. I think in the domain of ethics, it can be.
Certainty about anything. I don't know if that certainly can't be a security blanket to allow myself to be. I don't know if that certainly can't be a security
Yeah, I
blanket.
mean, is it wordplay? It certainly can't be a security blanket. I mean, why is he's using the word certain? Certainly, it's just kind of interesting.
It to allow myself to be uncertain and to admit I don't know and can't know.
Allow myself to be uncertain, right? That assumes a will. Earlier he was talking about he doesn't know he has a will, but he's talking and living and holding a position where he's always making decisions while saying, I don't know if I have a will. So what does he think is happening there? How could he even start to understand that and explain it? If he didn't have the will, he wouldn't be able to give knowledge claims. He would just be reciting what his program is reciting. So he's in some sort of illusion if he takes that route. He seems to act and talk like he has a will, though, doesn't he? And so does everybody, including Ace, right?
Well, I don't know how that's security.
Well, maybe
That's a more clear answer. I don't know how that's security, right? He ends with, I don't know how.
Can't be a security blanket to allow myself to be uncertain and to admit I don't know and can't know. I don't know how that's security.
I don't know and can't know? How does he know that he can't know? What is this?
maybe it's more of a comforting blanket than a.
So we're going to change security to comforting, right? This is the wordplay. Like the concept is, Tommy, that the blanket, the example of the security or comfort blanket is something we hold faithfully to make us feel better. Okay, you can try to change that word. What are you really going to do? The concept is going to remain.
Security blanket. Maybe it's more of a comforting blanket than a security blanket.
Uncertainty is a comfort to who?
To the one who is, for instance, to the one who is harming others and wants to do certain things, take certain things, treat people a certain way that's being looked at as a negative thing by others. It's comfortable for the one perpetrating people to say, you guys really don't know. You're imposing a moral system on me that I don't agree with. Nobody knows. That's where the comfort is in the alleged freedom of pretending or imagining that you're the arbiter of what right and wrong are.
Hello.
To one who has heard the law and shit himself.
So there's Tommy bringing in the law. That's what he does. Ace loves to talk about hell. Tommy loves to talk about the law. Every day they bring these things in this conversation. Most days, I should say.
Right, but I don't think that's the case here. Like I am certain. I can't be certain about.
What? Wait, what? You're certain of something now?
Like I am certain. I can't be certain about much in the Bible, but I'm certain that the idea of hell is insane and totally.
Oh, so he's not certain about anything, but now he's certain about the Bible. Oh, there it is, right? This is exactly the point. These guys who don't have any knowledge or certainty want you to grant them into your position to say, well, I'm certain that's wrong. I'm certain that book is incorrect. All of a sudden, he has certainty. You see that step? It's an actual step into delusion based on his own claims from just within a few minutes. This is a great example of how people are thinking about these matters. They're making the proclamation. They have no certainty. And all of a sudden, when it comes to what you're believing and you're claiming to know, they have certainty in order to critique that. And Peter W. was pointing this out recently, right? Like that people have the credentials or whatever it is to go ahead and point out what's wrong with the Bible. Although when it comes to knowledge claims, could be anybody's guess. When it comes to ethics, could be anybody's guess. But when it comes to the book that you believe in, all of a sudden they have the imagined ability to critique it and be certain that it's wrong. And I mean, you just heard him say it.
Oh, and shit himself.
Right, but I don't think that's the case here. Like I am certain. I can't be certain about much in the Bible, but I'm certain that the idea of hell is insane and totally man-made.
Wow, this guy. I'm going to pause right there and see if someone wants to pop in. I got something to do. I don't know. I may or may not come back to this. That there was plenty right there actually in just that half hour.